Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Friday to all of you. My name is Vern Anthony. I'm with Electude, and I'm joined today by Ken Atkins, who will be leading this session on student management with Electude. A couple things before we get started. We do have microphones muted, which we tend to do because it allows the presenter to go through their session without interruption. And I'm able to see questions that you type in. And so I'll monitor and make sure that we get to all of these questions to the very best of our abilities. So from time to time, Ken will take a break and I will get your questions answered for you, and I'll make sure and try to get every one of them covered before the session ends. The other thing is these sessions automatically record. So when the session is over, I will make sure and forward each of you the recording. I have all of your email addresses saved in the system, so we'll make sure that you have a recording if there's something that you want to go over again. And the last thing is we do have a training library at www.electude.com. There is a button on, or a tab you click on the top right of the screen, the opening screen that says support. And when you click on support, you scroll down and you'll see student, teacher, and administrator. If you click on teacher, you'll see there's just a huge library that has explanations and instructions and a lot of short step-by-step videos that can be very helpful. And you can also go to our YouTube station, which is Electude International, and those same training videos are all posted there. So there's a lot of different ways you can get information about Electude, and those are a few. So without further ado, I'll let Ken introduce himself, and we'll get started with the webinar.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ken Atkins. I am a full-time autos instructor. What we're going to do today is be going through how to set up students in your account and then manage it. If you want to follow along, I'm going to go real slow. I'll try and do everything twice, if not 3 times if you need it. So the goal would be to have you guys at least set up one student, which in this case is going to be, I'm going to have you guys make a student account for yourself, and I'll explain why later. I back up a couple steps here. I want to say happy Friday to you all. It's been a long week for all of us teachers. It's kind of been death by Zoom, if your life is much like mine. So I want to help you guys out and get you all up to speed and get you using Electude, out of the gate from the start. So if you want to follow along, feel free to have your login info for Electude. So with that, we'll get started. Vern, are you guys able to see my screen?
Sorry, we should be now.
All right.
Sorry about that.
All good.
Good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock.
All right. There we go. Now I see it. So I'm going to start from the very beginning. This would be whatever account that your sales rep set you up with. It'd be the link that they told you to go to. You guys are going to set up as log in as a teacher here. And your sales rep should have provided you with your username and then a initial password, which you then would have had to change. And once you log in, I'm going to click over here. Your account would typically look something like this when you first log in. This one here, you should see several of these. You may not have all of them depending on which package you purchased, but you're going to see a couple different options on the left-hand side here. And then your Students tab, assuming you haven't entered any, that would all be blank over here. You would just see all groups and all students down here. And that's what we're going to address today. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new group. Now, there's several different ways to do this. Different trainers have different preferred methods. I'm going to show you 2 that I use. I'm going to pull up my own class over on the side here. And one of the things I like to do is break this down by year. And the reason I break it down by year is I often have students that are in my program 2 to 3 years, sometimes in a row, sometimes not in a row. And one of the really nice things about Electude is it saves all their results. So year to year, I don't have to re-enter the student. I just drag them into a new class, which I'm going to show you how to do later on. So I like to start by putting my school in. We have 3 different schools operating off the same account. The nice thing about that is we work together in our PLTs. We create each of our units. We agree upon the modules we're going to cover, and then it's a simple drag and drop to assign it to a class. So we've got our 3 different schools on there, and then within have the years. And that's what I'm going to show you how to start doing right now. So depending on your setup, you can modify that based on what your needs are. If you're a community college, might be better off to just base it off of teachers' names instead of a school name, since everybody's at the same school. If you're a high school setting where there's several of you on the same account, then I would start by putting the school name in there first. So let's make this happen. So if you haven't already done so, on the top of your screen where it says students, you're going to click on that. And as I said, you're not going to have anything listed here, but that's what we're going to change. What we're going to do is create a student account for yourself. And the reason that I recommend doing this is in this crazy e-learning environment, and even not when we're e-learning, it's really nice to be able to look at things from the student's perspective. We as teachers have a lot more control. We can see a lot more. The student side is a lot more simplistic. I'm a big fan of making videos. I'll make videos of myself going through these modules. Then it's almost like myself teaching the class, and then I'll post those up to YouTube or share out the file. And when I do it on the student side, it's a lot easier for them to navigate to the module they're going to do. It's a lot easier for them to keep up. And students say it's just nice and convenient, really. So let's get started by creating our first group. You're going to click on the left side where it says all groups. And after you click that, you're going to see a plus sign kind of by the center of the screen. Click the plus sign. And the first group I'm going to create is going to be for this year. And if you are a community college or it's just your school on the account, you could just go ahead and put your name right there. That would be fine too. Going to hit add. Now, something I neglected to point out here, you've got an option where it says score student results, and there's 2 choices. One is yes, results saved for students. This is what you are going to want to click. If you select the no, results not saved, that allows students to go through the lesson without actually answering everything. There's a couple times that is nice. I've had coworkers and other teachers that they're preparing students for like Skills USA or professional conferences. They'll go ahead and let them go through stuff just so they can see what some of the content looks like without having to answer every single thing. Outside of that, for the average student, you're going to want to make sure it says yes. Now, if I look down below here, you're going to see where it says whatever you named it as. In my case, it was 2020, 2021. And now if we look over on the left side, we're also going to see it right there. So now we can start, this is kind of like the Windows file format system. Now we can start getting more specific in adding in either more teachers or more classes, whatever it is your situation needs. Now this training is intended just to get you up and running. It's very easy, as you'll see, to go in and add more, or if you decide you don't like it, in the center of the screen is the pencil button. You could change it. If you decide after the fact you want to name it something else, all this is fully modifiable. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and add our course. You'll see a plus sign underneath courses. And we're going to add our first course. Oops. Take that back. Groups is what I needed to say. At the bottom, I'm going to do that again just in case you accidentally clicked it too. If you clicked it, just hit cancel. Down at the bottom, you'll see where it says groups. That's what we need to add. Now, this is where you could start adding in your class periods. So I'm going to go ahead and put in first hour. And my first hour class happens to be Auto Fundamentals. And once again, we want it to track the results, so we're going to keep that option, and that's what it defaults to. And then we'll hit add. And if you wanted to, you can continue on adding more class periods, or if you needed to add more teachers, if you've got several teachers teaching autos in your lab or your building, you could add more teachers. And now we see underneath where it lists out first hour auto fundamentals. If I go over to the left side, you'll see where it says that 2020, and then underneath that is auto fundamentals. Now, just for practice, we're going to go ahead and add another class. And if you don't like that, I'll show you how to delete it out too. So we'll hit add. Got to type the name in. Friday afternoon's getting the best of me. I'm going to go ahead and put in second hour. And my advanced class is called auto service. And we're going to leave it as yes, track student results. Go ahead and hit add. And now you'll see it listed out. One common thing I hear, feedback that I get, is that it's not showing up down here. And if what you just typed or what you just added is not showing up, hit the refresh button. It is common that I'll do a bunch of changes and sometimes I'm not seeing them. I just hit the refresh button and then I'm good to go. And if I look at the left side over here, now I've got first hour, second hour, and you could go in at third hour, whatever it is you would need to do. Now, let's say you made a mistake and admin went and canceled your second hour class so you don't need it anymore. Let's hope they never do that. If I need to get rid of my second hour here, I'm just going to click on it. You'll see it's highlighted red. And up at the top, you'll see an X. That X is going to delete it. Now, it doesn't delete the students permanently. It just removes the course. There we go. Now I'm back to just having first hour. So the next thing we're going to do is add a student to the course. And what I'm going to have you guys do if you're following along is add yourself as a student. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to click on the class that I want to add it to, first hour, second hour, third hour. Click the class. And in the center of your screen, you'll see where it says students and there's a plus sign. We're going to click that plus sign. Now, something I want to make you aware of, and I'm not going to show you how to do it, but your sales rep can help you do this if you decide it's a benefit to you, is there is a mass import feature. I have 150 students. To go through and add 150 students, which is what I used to do, I've been using this product about 8 years now. I used to add every single student one at a time, and it would take me about 5-6 hours. Electude came out with the mass import feature, and it takes about 15 minutes. All you have to do is pull a like a roster report with some information, basically an Excel spreadsheet, and then they can mass import all the students very quickly, very easily. So if you have a lot of students, that option's available, and your sales rep can help you through that. If you only have a handful of kids, 15, 18 for one class, using this is really quick, really easy. So we'll get started.
Are you comfortable, Ken, doing a demo of the mass upload?
I am not prepared to do that right now, but I could later.
Okay.
I would be, yeah. I would want to be prepared and have everything in the right order because it's kind of tricky with the Excel columns. But that might be a good one to do for a future webinar.
Yeah, and just to explain what he and I are talking about, sorry everybody, is the mass upload feature is actually very easy to use. What you have to do is leave your teacher site and you have to go over to the administrator side. And so one of the reasons why we're reticent to teach beginners about that feature is because a lot of them don't have access to the administrator side, so it gets a little bit confusing. But if you do have access to the admin side, or you ask your admin, can you let me in there, or ask that person to do this function, it is really a simple matter of clicking a couple buttons to upload students and then adding a spreadsheet that aligned to the format of this thing. And then, like Ken says, you can take a spreadsheet of as many students as you want and load them in there all at once, and it's very, very easy to do. So, but I do understand, Ken, that in a beginning session, it's also a little complicated. So sorry to interrupt,
That's
but
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done it since last year, and I don't think I can do it quickly and clearly, so I don't want to confuse anybody jumping around.
Right. But we do want all of our customers to understand that you certainly can add students individually, and you also can add groups, and they're both possible to do. So Ken's just going to show you the individual one.
So to add an individual student, and in this case, you can go ahead and create a student account for yourself. Click the plus sign right here, middle of the screen. It'll say new student. And my autofill feature's popping up here, but we're going to delete that all out. And the username, a few things of few bits of information here that a few tips and tricks, if you will. The username, what I use is the first half of my student's email address up to the @ symbol. In my case, it's K Adkins. That's the first part of my email. That makes it nice and easy for the students to remember. A lot of times it's what their Chromebook logins are. It's also easy for doing that mass import just to do the first part of their email. So I'm going to go ahead and I've already created a Ken demo 1, so we're going to do a Ken demo 2. First name, last name, and email address. Now, there is a little workaround if they don't have email addresses. As long as you do an @something.com, it'll accept it as an email address. But it is important to have an accurate email address because if the students have questions, there's a comment button they can use and it'll actually send you an email. So if they're in a particular module and they're stuck, they can hit a button and type a quick email within Electude and it'll send you a question or send you an email specifically what module they're on. They can add in what question they have. So feedback's a big deal in school these days, so it's an excellent feedback tool. Passwords. I like to use their ID number for the initial password. Once again, it's easy to pull off a roster report and try that one more time. Students all know their ID number, or at least they should. And what's going to happen after their initial login, it's going to prompt them to update their password. And this is where they can put in their personal password that they would normally log in on Chromebooks or iPads, whatever it is, whatever their email password might be, they can change it to that after the initial login. Once you have that information in place, you can go ahead and hit add. Longer password.
Everybody does this all the time.
I tried cheating and doing 1 through 6, and you got to do at least 1 through 8. All right, and now down here is going to be the login that you created. And if I click on that, got my name, email, username. Let's say you typoed, spelled the kid's name wrong, they go by a different name. All you have to do to edit anything related to that person's profile is hit the pencil right here. And now I can adjust anything I need to adjust. This is also how you can update the student's password. Let's say it's been a long winter break, long spring break, long summer, they can't remember what it is. You could just manually go in and change the password for them. There's also a forgot password link they can use, but sometimes it's easier for me just to go in and change it up for them real quick. I'm gonna hit cancel. So there I am, and currently I'm in Auto Fundamentals, but let's say you have a student in 2 classes, or let's say second year around that you have them, you wanna go ahead and move them to a different class. All you have to do is grab their name right here and move it to whatever class you want them in. So I created another course called Adkins Training Demo. All I've got to do is grab their name. You'll see it highlights with the, I don't know, I call it the do not enter symbol, but with the block symbol on there. And once you'll see, it won't let me drop it in this one. Why is that? It's because I'm already in that class. But if I go to the one below it, now you'll see that symbol goes away and I can add myself to a different course. So that is a great way to be able to see things from a student's perspective and add students to different classes. Now, something else that I'll show you, let's say you had a student a few years ago, you forgot what class you had them in. On the left side, and you're welcome to click on this, on the left side you'll see where it says all students. I'll click that, and then I can just search. And now anybody with that name pops up, and I could grab them, and it's not going to let me do it. What's the new one? I can just grab the name, drag and drop into any course that I need to put them into. So a great way to be able to move students around. When in my advanced class, I don't recreate accounts, I just drag and drop them, and that way all of their content follows them. And at the end, if they want to print off our portfolio, we can print that off and they can show it to colleges, employers, anything like that. So it's a great way for them to keep track of all the records. Vern, I'm going to pause for a minute here. Is there any questions?
Yeah, we had a question about, and I was actually just about to answer that in writing, but we had a question about how secure is the student's name and email address. So, Ken, you may have your own thoughts on that, but just from the perspective of Electude, I can tell you a couple things. First of all, we fully comply with the GDPR, which is the European standard that was set for data privacy. And the reason is because the company is owned and the main office is in the Netherlands, not the US. So we had, by law in the European Union, we had to do that last year. And secondly, we are a member of the Student Data Privacy Consortium here in the US. So we make quite a priority of student privacy. If you go to www.electude.com and you scroll to the bottom of the landing page, you'll see there is a thing on privacy, and you can look up all of the details if you wish to read them on our privacy statement. So we are very clear on this, and we do publicly display everything that we've done. So what I can tell you is it was quite an undertaking. Those GDPR standards are rigorous, to say the least, and there are significant fines if you violate them. So most companies take this quite seriously, and we've really done a lot to make sure that your students' data is protected and that nobody will be viewing that data as far as their name, their email address, their scores, and so forth, other than those that we have specified. So, you know, for example, when I open, because I can open anything in Electude essentially. So when I open, like if I were to open Ken Atkins courses, I could look at the courses he's chosen. I could look at, you know, all of the activity in there and stuff, but I can't see any of the names, any of the email addresses, and I cannot connect those scores to any actual human being. So, Ken, I don't know if you had anything to add about security from your end, but that's
I'll
what.
say it must be good because it's frustrating. I mean, the passwords are strict. It's got to be, you know, a long enough length and symbols. So they've done a great job in terms of creating strict passwords and things like that. So
Well,
yeah, in
that's
8
the
years,
other.
I've
You,
not had
you,
issues.
yeah, you just touched on the other side of it, which is the authentication process. So when a student does receive a password, they are asked to recreate it. So there's a two-step in there, and that also is usually considered a sign of a fairly secure system, I think. So, anyways, that's that. Thanks, Ken.
You're welcome.
And
So the next
that
part,
is it for the
go ahead.
questions. That's all
You're
the
good.
questions right now.
Um, so the next part we're going to go through is how to create a course. And what I like to do is help you guys create an initial course that you can modify later, but it would at least get you up and running, start of the school year here. All of us start with some sort of a safety intro usually. So if you want to follow along and add it into your account, I'll show you guys how to create a simple safety unit. So I'm still in the students screen here. And what I'm going to do is select the class that I want it to initially go into. So I'm going to select Adkins Training Demo. And now when you click on the Courses tab on the top of the screen, we're going to start getting a little more specific here and start finding some of our content that we might want to add. So if I click on Automotive Essentials, and you would go into Electude Light Vehicles, and then into Basics. Here you can start seeing a lot of the different courses that are offered, but what I want to do is get a little more specific than that. So what we're going to do is go over to the left side where it says Modules, and what I like to do before I assign any unit, I like to go in and search again because Electude does a great job of creating new content pretty consistently. And I often find myself sometimes deleting out old modules I don't like as much and then bringing in some of the new ones. So we're all big fans of Google here. So the first thing I like to do is hit the search button. And if you just type in safety, you're going to start seeing a lot of the different modules that show up regarding safety or have safety in the title. On the right side, if you hit level, if you have an intro class, you can find some real simple ones. If you're a higher level program, post-secondary, you might look at some of the specialty stuff. And this is the first place I like to get an idea of just what they have going on for that particular thing. I will tell you, tools is one of the areas that they've done an amazing job building out some new content recently. And I've been building out my tools unit this year, now that they have a lot more stuff. So screwdrivers, torque wrenches, there's a couple on hammers, pliers, wrenches. So if you're just trying to figure out what all they have, searching is a great way to start. Now, I'm going to show you another way to get more content. And we're going to go into, on the left side, default by subject. And now you're going to start seeing all the specific areas that they have content built out for. For this one, we're going to go to general. And you can click on it or hit the plus icon. And now you'll see where they've got all the tools modules listed out. And there are a lot of them. For the safety unit, we're just going to drop down to safety and environment. And now you're going to see the modules related to safety. And what we're going to start doing is building out our first course. If you go to grab a module here, fire safety for the US, you can grab a module, bring it up, and you'll see the red symbol goes away. Now I can take that little Lego piece and drop it in. And I've already assigned it to the group, so that's why it's not letting me. And if I go to personal protective equipment, I can grab that one and assign it to them. We'll go ahead and just do that. Now, the other thing I really like, my school just came back and said, we want you guys to do lots of small assessments rather than large unit assessments to keep students a little more on task and things a little more manageable for e-learning. And we were pretty excited about that because Electude has quizzes for almost all of their modules. You'll see this one has a quiz for it. Safety Science has a quiz. Working on hybrid vehicles has a quiz. So students can go through the module, and then once they feel confident with that module, they can go ahead and take the quiz, and then you can give them a summative grade based off that quiz. You might find you don't want to enter all the quizzes, or you might want to make them less points, but this is kind of the first time we felt a sigh of relief when we knew that we had quizzes already ready to go and all we had to do was drag and drop them in. Typically our large unit assessments will take quizzes we'll take several different quizzes, combine them together and give one larger quiz, but this year we're going to put those on hold and just do the smaller ones. So I've dragged and dropped them over here, and now you'll see those modules have started to appear over here. Now, that would be a quick way just to kind of get you up and running, but we're going to do something just a little more specific. What we're going to do is build out a intro course. And on the top of your screen right here, we're going to go to courses. And on the left side, you'll see where it says self-made. If you don't want to drag and drop an entire large folder with a bunch of modules in it, you want to make your own with your own specific content, it's really, really easy to do. So you'll see a plus symbol under where it says courses, plus symbol. I'm going to add a new course. And we're going to call this Unit 1 Safety. And if you wanted to add more of a description about what it particularly pertains to, you could do that. But I'm just going to hit add. And now if I scroll down here, you'll see where it says Unit 1 Safety. If it's not showing up, like I said, hit that refresh button. Sometimes it takes a refresh for it to finally show up. Now, if you wanted to create Unit 2, all you gotta do is hit the plus symbol. You can create Unit 2. Maybe it's the tools unit. We'll go ahead and do it. Hit add. And now you've got your tools unit down here. So what I'm going to do is click on Unit 1 Safety. And right now I've got no modules in it. So what I'm going to do is start adding some modules to it. Go back to the left side where it says modules. Now what you could do, grab this. I'm going to back up one step and just click on the General tab. What I could do is grab the entire folder, Safety and Environmental. I could grab the entire thing. I did that faster than I intended to. My mouse jumped there. Go back to General. I'll do that a second time. I can grab the Safety and Environment and drag it up to my Unit 1 Safety, and it's going to bring in all the modules that it contains. Some people like that. I find it to be very overwhelming. It's too much content for students in most cases. And if we click on this, you saw it before, every single one of these just got assigned to the students. There are a couple of these I don't really care to assign. The globally harmonized system, I don't cover that. I don't want my students to have to do it. You could delete it out, but I'm a big fan of doing the pick and pull method. So I'm going to go to maintenance just for example. And I'm a fan of finding the content I want to cover and then just grabbing that module and dropping it in. Now I think you'll understand that oil changes don't really align with Unit 1 Safety, but for the sake of demonstration, all you have to do is grab the module, drop it in. Vern, do we have any questions coming in yet? Can I print the
Sorry,
list
I
off?
was muted.
All
Just one asking if we can print the list of courses and modules.
right.
You can drop down things into a CSV file.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one. So what I'm going to do now is just go back to my courses, Unit 1 Safety. And it didn't drop the stuff in. Try that again.
You didn't let go of it when you had the clicker over that.
Yeah, you're right. So I'm just going to do that again. Drop in safety, drop in the quiz. And now when I go there, my modules show up. So you could build this out with whatever modules are applicable to your course. And now if I want to assign that module to my students, you'll see it says Adkins training demo right here. That might be your unit 1 class, your period 1 class, period 2 class. All you have to do is drag and drop it over. And now I've just assigned that unit 1 to the entire class. You'll see it right here, unit 1 safety. And I'm going to do that a second time with my unit 2 tools. So I click on courses again. I'm going to go to self-made to get back to the main list. Find tools down here, unit 2 tools. And now I can just drag and drop that. And now I've assigned that. If you discover you accidentally did too much dragging and dropping, you assigned something you didn't want to assign, all you have to do is click on it, hit the X, and now it's gone. It did not delete the whole course permanently, it just took it away from that class. So a great way to be able to manage this. When we switched over to e-learning, I created a new e-learning course and we focused on hybrid vehicles, and all I had to do was drag and drop and assign it. I was up and running in e-learning on a Friday evening. So we found out Friday we weren't coming back to school. It was that easy to create a new course, drag and drop it, have my students ready to go on Monday. And my administrators were really impressed that I wasn't struggling with that.
So let's go back to that printing question. So go just open up any course, go over to courses.
Okay.
You can hit anything. You can open a pre-made one, you can open one of yours, it doesn't matter. So just click on courses. Just pick, you can go ahead and pick like automotive essentials or council ed or something.
Okay.
And then yeah, go ahead and click on that. Just pick. Now you see right there at the bottom it says course table of content. So when you click on that, you're going to open up a CSV file, and if you open that, you'll see, yeah, just go ahead and click, it should come right up.
It popped up on my second monitor. Let's see if I can.
Okay, so that's the answer to the question.
Okay.
Is that on every course, and this is true for self-made courses, so everybody, Ken was just showing us how he can make his own self-made courses, and that button appears. So if if you're using one of these pre-built courses, because we have dozens of pre-built courses, you click that button and you can see the table of contents and you can print it. And then if you build your own course, like Ken was, that's why I didn't want to interrupt a second ago. Ken was showing us how he's building his own courses, and it has the same button. So it drops down into a file, and then you open that file and you can print it out, or you can download it and save it in a folder, whatever you want to do. So sorry to interrupt, Ken, but I just wanted to make sure we didn't skip that question.
There we go. So now you should see that's the big list of all of the modules.
And then you can manipulate that file any way you want. So there's a lot. That's a very large course. So if you do like Ken's doing, where he's just putting a few modules in, your list is going to be really manageable. And also that's showing up in that that Apple-based spreadsheet.
Yeah,
It's a lot better in it looks a lot better in Excel, but we don't need to dwell on that. But
well, I live in the Google world with school, so I just do everything through that. All right, let me close that and change my screen back to that one. There we go. So I had said you can assign quizzes, and if I go under students, you'll see where the quizzes have popped up here for unit 1. So there's one that I dropped in a while ago on hybrid vehicles. There's a lift quiz there. The nice thing about when you assign a quiz is, I'm going to switch over to a different account here. When you assign a quiz, you can lock and unlock them. So let's say you want to make sure the kids are taking it during your synchronous learning time. When class starts, you're ready to do it. You just go into that module, hit the unlock button, and now all your students have access to be able to take the quiz. When your time is over, synchronous time is done, you don't want anybody taking it that didn't show up for class, lock it back up, and now nobody else has access to it again. So it's an awesome way to be able to manage quizzes on the fly. without a whole lot of background work. Now, let's say, go back to this. Let's say a student took a quiz and they did not do well on it. And I think I accidentally deleted the one that I didn't want to delete. Let me see if I can pull this back up again. Nope, I lost it. Let's say a student wants to retake a test. I'm gonna jump over to my other account here. And I'm gonna pull up something from a long time ago. And I'm just doing this to show you what it would look like and how easy it is to do. So these are all the students that took a test we made using the DIY tool. And you can see 2 students didn't take the test. This particular student didn't do as well as they probably wanted to. And let's say they came and talked to you and they want to do a retake. All you have to do is go in, select the student, and you can see how they scored on each question. You can talk them through, why did they not do well? What didn't they understand? And get them up to speed. And because it shows you which ones they got right, you can compliment them on that and then move forward. And it also shows you how many times they got the question wrong, which is helpful in identifying problem areas. If you see a whole class got this question wrong, I know it's hard to believe, but maybe us as instructors didn't do a good job teaching that particular topic. So it's a great item analysis tool there. So let's say I want to reset his test. All I have to do is hit the X here, and his test is going to be reset. And I'm not going to do it for this particular student because he might be taking the class again this year. But click the X, it resets it, he can now retake the test. And the final piece of the puzzle that I want to show you is how to look at student scores, whether it's a module or a lab, module or a test, I should say. And I use this for assigning students out to do fun stuff in the lab. So I'm just going to take this one here. And one of the labs that they did was on cooling system function. And we'll take one, let's go with pressure cap. So if students were supposed to complete this module at home during their e-learning time, and let's say you are in a situation where students are coming into school in small groups, and when they come in, if they have their work done, they're able to do a lab, which is what all of us are hoping to get to here if you're not there already. What you can do is go in and look at the progress. You can see who's got it all done accurately. You can see who didn't do it as well. And all you have to do is hit the progress bar and you can flip it whichever direction you want to go. When students come in, I start with this one and I will be talking to these students. I'll call them up and talk to them, find out why they didn't do the work. If there was an issue, was there an internet issue, computer issue, or most of the time they just say, you know what, I forgot to do it. But now I know exactly which students I need to talk to, and a lot of times I'll just snag them as they're walking in the door before the bell rings. Now when it's time to start working out in the lab doing the fun stuff, I'll switch this around and I'll put these 3 or these 4 students into a group together. And then I'll just put these 4 students into a group together. And great quick way to reward the students that got their work done and get them to work quickly. And it's also kind of a fun way to randomize the groups because each module, more than likely, they're going to score a little differently. And so it's a fun way to kind of mix things up. But it's literally that easy to figure out who is not getting their work done. It's also a really powerful tool in this e-learning environment to be able to keep track of students and see who's able to stay on top of e-learning, who's not. Last spring, I found, it was usually the same consistent students that weren't doing work. So I would reach out to counselors, reach out to deans, and then also call the family myself and say, I've been tracking your progress. I'm not seeing you doing much. What do I need to do to help you? So that is the progress tracking bar and being able to reorganize it. So That is student management in a nutshell here. Really powerful tool that gives you a lot of options and real easy way to manage classrooms and entire programs. Vern, I'll reach out to you here. Is there anything else popping up?
No, I'm not seeing any other questions as I go through this, and I believe we did answer the ones that were here. So I think we've touched on anything. If anybody else has last questions, now's your chance to ask us. If there's anything else you want us to talk about, just type away. And if not, we will start our respective weekends.
Yeah, what I'll end with here is I covered a lot of content. I tried to go as slow as possible, and I hope all of you got your Electude accounts at least started and know how to import your students. As Vern said, Electude's website has a great section on real simple videos. They're only about 1 to 2 minutes a piece, and they're very organized. If you forgot how to add a student, there's a video that'll walk you through it, or let's say you didn't see quite where I clicked, it'll show you exactly where that is. So if there's a part you're getting stuck on, take advantage of those videos because I've learned a lot about more and more by watching those. So it's a great library collection of videos.
Okay, very good. Well, everyone, thank you so much for attending today. We really appreciate your time and your attention. If you have any further questions, please do not be shy to reach out and send us a note. The address is sales@electude.com. If you know your local Electude sales representative, feel free to ask them questions. We will send you the recorded copy of this webinar so you can enjoy it all over again. And in the meantime, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend on this lovely summer August time period here. And thank you again. And Ken, thank you very much. And good
You're
night.
very welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.